Okay, very quickly. I'm boiling some corn right now, so I want to make this very quick and actually preface this before the review. So I'm doing this uh, after I did the review and then showed those clips, but um, I'm gonna put it in front of the video of the the review. But just be mindful of news on bad people, like with Rachel Zegler and stuff. Even though maybe some people may say things that aren't so good or so great, they like to take footage from various interviews and things like that, and maybe certain sites, and edit clips together, or edit things and take things out of context, and edit it in a way that make the people look, the celebrities and just people, look far worse than what it actually is. Taking something so small, or just not that big, and blowing it up and making it a big deal, just to make them seem a lot worse than what it is, or take it out of context what they said. So be mindful of that. And also, I'll just mention the two songs to me that are a standout. Although I did enjoy all the songs and all the classic songs like "Whistle While You Work" and everything. It really is very similar to the original, 37 Snow White, just expanded a bit, and also you get to learn why her name is Snow White, things like that. So it delves into things that you didn't know about, or they didn't talk about before. But of course, there's "Waiting on a Wish." I love that song. There's a reprisal of that, which was also good. But there's a duet between, the swashbuckling male hero and Snow White, when her and the swashbuckling guy and his merry men go back to the cottage of the home of the seven dwarves, and they're having a little party there and eating food and celebrating. Um, and they have a little duet that they sing, and I thought that was quite lovely. So, okay. Megavanan, everyone, and welcome back to another film review. This is my review for Snow White, the 2025 live action Disney remake, and it stars Rachel Zegler as Snow White, Gal Gadot as the Evil Queen, and I think that's all I really know. I don't really have to go over the plot. Everyone knows what the plot is of Snow White, and especially the Disney version of it, and it pretty much follows everything step by step, as the animated film, which I really love that one, but I also really like this one too. The only thing is they expand. I feel like they expand just enough with certain elements of the film, so you kind of you delve a little bit more into the dwarves. Not a whole lot, but a little bit of it. You get to know them a little bit better, and a little bit more of a backstory, and where they work at the mines and stuff. It goes a little bit more into it, and you learn a little bit more about Snow White's past, and the Evil Queen. You get to know more of her motives, things like that. Same goes for the prince in this one, although he's not really a prince. He's more of like a swashbuckling, almost Errol Flynn-like kind of character in this. In the leader of the resistance, against the Evil Queen, and they're loyal to him, and his merry men are loyal to the old king, Snow White's dad. I really like this one. All the songs are really, really great, and catchy as well. Even the new ones I liked. They're not really. There really isn't a bad song from the new roster of songs, but just maybe a couple of songs I like a little bit more than others. I'll say Gal Gadot as the Evil Queen. She gets a couple songs. The leader of the resistance, who be the love interest of Snow White. He gets a couple songs. So I really, really liked this one. If you like the animated Snow one, this is no, not Snow One, Snow White, the original Snow White cartoon, chances are you're going to really enjoy this one. It's updated, so it even though it follows everything that the original 30, was it 36 or 37 animated film, maybe I'm wrong on that year, but I think it's like in the 30s, follows everything, even though it follows everything pretty much with expanded parts to explain certain things. It at the same time feels more updated, because of the music and that the dialogue, things like that. I know that Rachel Zegler got a lot of hate for some of the things she said, but honestly, I don't think it was really bad. The stuff she said, maybe it wasn't great, but does she really deserve, and does this film, and does she really deserve all of that hate and the bullying that people are doing to her? Like really, is it really that bad? I guess the best equivalent I could come up with is if you've seen Season of the Witch, the Nicolas Cage, Ron Perlman one, that movie, the live action one, and there's a guy, I think his name is like de Belzag, I think, or I could be wrong on the name, but he said, why do you guys accuse her of being a witch? And they said, oh, because she came into town and she started speaking in riddles and acting funny, and that makes her a witch, and this makes her a witch, and so he kind of questioned that. So it's, if you really sit back and analyze this, think about what she said and think about how she's being treated. Does that sound fair to you? Is she truly deserving of all that? That's all I'm saying. And I think that if she hadn't said, those things that got everyone mad at her, like that, I feel as if it would have done a lot better. But maybe it wouldn't have been a huge hit because everyone is, already complaining on Disney making remakes of their live-action films. But this is one where I feel as if it was made maybe 20, 25 years ago, it would have done okay in the theaters. It would have done well because it really is a good film. Beautiful cinematography. The acting is pretty fine, pretty decent. Nothing really bad about that. With Gal Gadot, though, you can still hear some of her accent, so it's a little bit funny. And you could say, well, the cast is more diverse, but that's fine. We're in a fantasy kind of world, and I know Snow White, being played by a Hispanic, but that is still fine. In here we have like a black, a Chinese, white people, so it's all fine, and it doesn't feel pushed or anything. So for those people, they don't that are worried about that, I guess they don't have to worry about that at all. And when she's talking about this is a different kind of Snow White, and she's like stronger, well, it still follows everything. She'll still eat the poisonous apple, still go to sleep. There's only one part I could think of. It's where she came back and just didn't abandon her love interest, in the forest, and helped out, by using subterfuge and misdirection to, throw off, the queen's guards, something like that. But she doesn't break out into Kung Fu. She doesn't fist fight and take on like 20 men. You don't have to worry about that. And for the ending, there isn't a huge massive Kung Fu martial art fights for those expecting that. Between Snow White and the Queen, or her taking on, don't expect that. It's a pretty unique kind of way, I guess, for the ending. And honestly, the way it ended, the final confrontation between the Queen and the people, the guards, and Snow White, will kind of bring a tear to the eye. It's very touching, I felt. So do check it out. Don't listen to all the hate that people are saying about it, because it really is a good film. I'm going to end this by showing some like a few clips of some of the beautiful cinematography that I liked about this, and I couldn't help but just kind of imagine Cyrodiil. This is so far maybe one of the latest things that has the same kind of beauty and captures a fantastical look of Cyrodiil, in the game, you know, Oblivion. Okay, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and please enjoy those short little clips that are coming up right here. My final score for the film, for Snow White 2025 live action Disney film, I think I'm gonna give this one, you know, much like Thunderbolts, I'm gonna give it like an 8 out of 10. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you. This is really a beautiful picture. Just look at all that, and see, this just reminds me of Coral in Oblivion. Coral is near Winden Priory, for those who do not know, but it just kind of reminds me of that. You know, this village, you know, city that Snow White is from, and here's the castle. This fountain area, it just reminds me of the it's sort of like the main section in Coral, where if this was Coral, this would be Arborwatch, the home that you could buy. This would maybe be like the Fighters Guild, the Majors Guild, if you remember. And Irana, you know, she's involved in the she wants you to steal the Fingers of the Mountain for the recommendation quest that you get from Tychius. She would be like roaming around here. Now, it is not exactly like Coral, but it has like a similar look to it. So I really, you know, I like this. This is truly a beautiful picture. I thought this guy here who plays a huntsman acted very well.
Can't leave the kingdom.
She is evil, child.
You know, he gives a great performance here, to me at least. And there's another scene that he's in when he's in the prison and he's with that
What about my father?
other guy, the
Please,
guy that's the leader of the resistance. Now this part here, where she's going through this dark part of the forest, it's you know, something out of, you know, kind of reminds me maybe of certain areas in Shivering Isles in Oblivion. Take a look at this shot. There's quite a few shots like this in the film. Look how beautiful that is. It just, again, reminds me of Cyrodiil, with all the greens, you know, and these type of trees. And if you don't believe me, just, and you have the game, go ahead, go put on Oblivion and take a stroll around Cyrodiil. This region here, you know, maybe particularly go down to the Bravel area toward Leowyn, and you'll see these type of willow-wisp trees, these things, and, you know, with all the water, you know, the sky, this whole landscape, it just reminds me of, you know, something like Cyrodiil. And you know, it just reminds me of that. Again, very, very nice, beautiful shot. Just very much like Cyrodiil. It's, you know, very not a flat landscape. There's a lot of hills and things, so absolutely beautiful.